This is the Velox 3.3 millimeter 90 degree aspirating ablator. Here I'm using this to perform a hip arthroscopy. In hip arthroscopy, we work a great deal in trying to preserve all tissue that we can. In this case, I'm trying to elevate the capsule up and off of the acetabulum, preserving as much tissue as I can for the capsule to allow me for a capsule repair later. One of the things that I really do enjoy about this ablator is its design. The angle allows me to reach around the capsule, retract the capsule, and then elevate it up and off of the rim of the acetabulum without destroying a lot of the tissue. This is critical for capsular plication and repair at the end of the procedure. So here, I'm dissecting between the labrum and the capsule to elevate it to allow me to get good access to the acetabular rim. Now in this case, this patient had an intralabral cyst secondary to a pincer lesion. So I'm utilizing the tip of the ablator to start dissecting the capsule by simple blunt dissection, as well as utilizing the ablation function itself. The ceramic tip on this allows me to actually use this as an elevator as well, or a tissue liberator, if you will. So I'm able to actually get good dissection on the tissue utilizing either the ablator function or the ceramic tip itself, not utilizing the ablation. So here we can see that as I elevate the capsule, I'm trying to open up that acetabular rim that I can get good adequate exposure for anchor placement, but I'm also trying to preserve as much tissue as possible for the capsular closure. I'll alternate between dissecting with just the ceramic tip itself, which is more than stout enough to allow this to function as a liberator and saves me a step from not having to switch to a tissue liberator, and then I can ablate or coagulate as I need to. Moving anteriorly along the labrum, we've got a tissue deficient situation here. The patient had developed a cyst secondary to the pincer lesion, and so I'm trying to elevate the labrum off of the pincer lesion and preserve it without any additional tissue destruction. So we simply dissect gently once I can get that edge underneath the labrum. I'm not utilizing any ablation, I'm just elevating it. This gives me nice control and allows me to dissect and preserve as much tissue as possible with this ablator design. So you can start to see our pincer lesion starting to develop here. This gives us more than adequate exposure of the acetabular rim. And now I've got the labrum elevated up and off of the pincer lesion, and I can come in with my high-speed burr and take this down for labral reattachment. And again, you can see we've got a nice angle around the capsule. We're not having to deal with that in our way. We're able to free this labrum up, and here I'm just twisting the device, dissecting that chondrolabral junction and labrum free from its pincer lesion. We got excellent capsular preservation, excellent tissue preservation of the labrum. Now we've taken our pincer lesion down with our high-speed burr. Here we're just dissecting back a little bit further to make sure that we don't run the risk when we place our anchors of entering into the articular surface itself, and then we'll move on to the next steps in the case. So once I've refixed the labrum, the last thing in this particular case is to resect this patient's psoas because of the significant symptoms of psoas tendonitis. This angle on the ablator facilitates this. You can see that I'm able to dissect above the capsule into the psoas itself. And I'm just going through the psoas, sectioning it, making sure that I get any accessory bands, and recess the psoas in its entirety. So we have just a little bit left to get back there. But overall, we achieve excellent psoas recession. We don't have to violate the capsule to get all the way over to it. We can actually use our elbow as a retractor to allow us to visualize by retracting the capsule that we do have resected, and allow us to complete our Psoas recession. But it's also important to note is this is the same ablator that I use for shoulder arthroscopy, which allows me to reduce the number of SKUs I've got on my shelves for inventory.